Hi everybody, this is Dr. Selfridge. Welcome to our live stream today. Today I'm starting off, I'm playing along with this fun play along track. Let me show you what I have here. Which one is it? Here it is. So yeah, I mean, there's so many cool things out there. Hey, off. Hey. Usually I can, oh, hello. Let me come back here. Usually I was just trying to turn my little picture on in the corner of the screen. It wouldn't let me do that. I don't know why. But anyway, I was playing along with this play along track of a what is it called? It's just like a song, a Latin song. Maybe it went away now. There it is. I'll let you look at it again, but I won't be able to put my little picture up in the corner. So this is what I'm talking about. It's pretty cool. So what you're seeing there is the chords are going by, and you see the little green line that's going by on each beat. And this is just I don't even know what song this is. It looks like it's called, there's the title right there, Cascara Mascara. But it's kind of fun. Fun to just kind of jam along with. When you're looking at something like that, and you see like just C lowercase m7 and then the slashes, that's a whole thing we could talk about sometime about how to do jazz improvisation or musical improvisation. Those are chord symbols. So if you see the C lowercase m7 like that, or any of these, and the first one is F lowercase m7, and that just tells you what notes that the chord instruments in the group should be playing. So the bass player plays the bottom note. Say it's the F minor 7, the F7, the lowercase m7. Let me turn up my keyboard. Hey, my keyboard got really quiet too. I'm going to turn up my keyboard here. So you got the F in the bass. There we go. And then the lowercase m and the 7 tell the piano player. Oh, do I have an overhead keyboard? There we go. They tell the here's the F in the bass. Take it down an octave. Ooh, a little loud there. And then in the piano and the guitar, right, they do an F minor 7 chord. Yeah, F, A flat, C, E flat. So that's how musicians look at what's called a lead sheet with chord symbols, and they know what notes to play or what to improvise with. Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Selfridge. This is our live stream. We're here every Sunday about this time, 3 p.m. What do we do here? We chat in the comments. I already see some great questions and requests coming through in the comments. In order to participate in our chat, you do need to become a subscriber. So hopefully you all will click subscribe. It's free to subscribe, and all that means is you will just get notifications when you sign into YouTube. You'll see that I have a new video. So thanks for being a subscriber, and if you also wouldn't mind giving a thumbs up to the video, this live stream, that would be great. And what do? We talk about questions that you might have about instruments. Make sure you let me know when you do ask a question. Be specific about what instrument you play. And if you have a request, you can request an instrument for me to play. What do I have with me today? I've got a trumpet. I've got a flute, a clarinet, and my alto sax. That's what I've got with me today. And so we can play some of the requests that you might have. So let's say hello, or if you just want to say hello in the chat, you could do that too. Let me turn on our technology comments here. All right, so we're going to say first hello to our friend Mike, who is checking in yet again. Hi Mike, how are you? Good to see you. And Mike's request is, this is one I'm not familiar with, Easy Street by the Collapsible Hearts Club. All right, and on any instrument I would like. Okay, Mike, I will do that one first, but let me say hello to a few more people first, okay? And Mia is here. Hi, Mia. Good to see you again. Mia is requesting Michael Bublé. Sounds good. I like that song, Sway. Morphin, hello to you. Stand by CWC 2019. Okay, I don't know what that is, but I can look it up. And here's a music theory question. So I will answer this question first, and then I will get to some requests. Okay? Also want to say hi to Allie. Hi, Allie. Let me say hello to everyone. Hello, hello. Hello to Mason. Hi, Mason. How are you? And Zoltan. Hello to Zoltan. And hey, how are you, my friend? Haven't seen you in a while. Bartholomew. Gabe. Awesome Sauce. Okay, requests. Careless Whisper. Zoltan, really quick. The doctorate that I have is it's in the topic of music education, or the field, I guess you call it. So I have a PhD in music education from Temple University, my alma mater. I went there for my undergraduate degree too, so I really had a great experience there. We're going to say hi to Joelee. Hi, Joelee. Good to see you here. So let's get to questions. All right. So from Morphin, please explain major chords and minor chords of music. I want to know from you, as you are my favorite music person. So thanks a lot. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you like my videos and you think whatever I'm teaching you is helpful. So that's really great to hear. So let's talk about major and minor chords. Okay, so first of all, I really wish I could get my my picture in the oops, let me turn this off. It'd be really awesome if I could get my my little picture in picture. That's okay. I'll get over it. All right, let's go to your question. Here we go. So, a chord. What is a chord? A chord is when we take any note. You could take any note in music, on the piano, any instrument, and that you pick that note as we call the root of the chord. So just like you plant a plant in the ground in the garden, the roots are at the bottom. So the root of the chord is the bottom note. Okay. It also gives us the name of the chord. So say we're going to build a chord off of the note, I don't know, I'm just going to say F. So let's go to the piano here. There's an F, okay? And then the basic fundamental aspect of a chord is that you have the root, then we have a note called the third, which means you start on the root as 1, and you skip the second note, and you go to the third note. 1, 2, 3. So we have root, third, and then we skip a note, and we go to what we call the fifth. Now, if we do this based off of a major scale, so a major scale would be F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. If we build that off of the root, major scale third, major scale fifth, that's what we call a major chord. So this is an F major chord. Now, there are other ways you can tell what a major chord is besides knowing, if you know your major scale, then you're all set, right? I know my F major scale. And then I just have to take the root, third, and fifth. And then there's an easy way to make it minor. Somebody might already know. Do you guys know how to make this a minor chord? I'm gonna see if anyone knows in the chat how to make this a minor chord. But in the meantime, I'm gonna tell you that if you don't happen to know your major scales, you can also count the half steps. So the half steps are the smallest distance you can go from one note to the next. So if I'm here on F, Snowjack says I'm quiet. Guys, let me know. I have my microphone at the same volume it usually is at. But let me know, guys, if you need me to turn up my microphone. Okay, so I have my root, F, and you go up 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps, and then 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3. And what that's, so we could sort of figure this out in multiple ways. We could say 4 half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That makes a major chord. This is also called a major third and a minor third. So there's different ways that musicians label things and figure things out. So that's our F major chord. Root, 4 half steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 half steps. You could do that from any note. Here's B flat. This is, matter of fact, this is how I first learned when I was teaching myself how to make chords. I was teaching myself music theory because I was in high school and I was really getting into music and I wanted to kind of learn more about it. So I saw in a book somewhere that to make a major chord anywhere, pick a note and go 4 half steps and then 3. And that taught me how to make my major chords. Now, so thank you guys for checking in and letting me know about my volume. Looks like it's good. So who was it? Oh, Snowjack. Maybe just check, make sure your computer's turned up. Sometimes, guys, when volume is low on my laptop, if I'm watching YouTube or my computer, I turn up my laptop all the way. Sometimes your volume on the YouTube app might be low, so you can check that. Okay, so Mike came in with an answer on how to make a major chord into minor. And Mike, you are definitely on the right track. Matter of fact, the first half of your answer is correct. But we do flat the 3rd, but we do not flat the 5th to make a minor chord. You can flat the 5th, but that makes it into a different chord. So let me show you. Let's go back to our F chord, everybody. F, A, C, Do, Mi, Sol, or root, 3rd, 5th, okay? Or if you want to figure it out with half steps, it's the root note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Major chord. To make it minor, as Mike put in the chat, we flat the 3rd. So here's the 3rd note. It's the middle. Don't get confused because you might think like, oh, it's the 3rd. I'm going to take the 3rd note. 1, 2, 3, right? Oh, is this the 3rd note? No. This is the 5th because we count in a scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 3, 5. The middle note, the 3rd, flat it. Now listen to the F minor chord. That is minor. It's really good to try to sing and match pitch. So, there's a minor chord. So, great activity in the chat. I like all this great chat we're having, interaction, asking great questions. Mike says sound is good here. Thank you all for chiming in on that. So let's go back here. Our friend Morphin, who asked about major and minor scales, let me know if that made sense. That's how you make major and minor chords. Let me know if that made sense about major and minor chords. And another cool thing, I'll say one more thing about this real quick. So we made a major chord off of F, right? We went with the half step method. We went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So if you want to make a minor triad or a minor chord, you just reverse the number of half steps like this. F, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you flip the counting of your half steps, you can make major versus minor. I'll do it real quick off of A. Let's make a minor chord. So we're going to go 3 half steps followed by 4 half steps. Here, hold the A. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bum, 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 bum. That's minor. Cool. Great question. I like talking about music theory stuff. Okay. Let's get to music requests. Thank you. Thanks, Morphin. Makes me smile when I hear things like that. So I see, Gabe, I see your question about the rhythms. Let me get to that, but I promised some requests. So I'm going to go to Mike's request. Easy Street by the Collapsible Hearts Club. You know, I'm going to Google this on my other computer here and see if it works. Easy Street. Oh, guys, by the way, I noticed, you know, I don't really pay too much attention or you know, worry about the number of subscribers that we have on the channel. But I am at 267 now. It would be cool to push up to 300,000. So if you guys know anyone, spread the word about the subscribing to the channel. That'd be fun to get to 300,000. Okay, so Easy Street. I got to type this in. I'm using my My other computer, Easy Street. Oh, you know what? To do this, pardon me 1 second. I have to plug in my sound. There we go. So I have my extra computer here. Easy Street, and the name of the Collapsible Hearts Club. Very interesting. I always like to learn new songs. So let's see. Collapsible Hearts Club, Easy Street. Any instrument. So let's give a listen here. This is the song.
We're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet, 'cause the world is but a
Mike, is this the right song?
You're on Easy Street, and we're breaking out the good champagne. We're sitting pretty on the gravy train.
Okay.
When we sing, every sweet refrain repeats right here on Easy Street. It's our moment in the sun, and it's only just begun. It's time to have a little fun.
Ah.
Come and see why you should be on Easy Street.
Ba-da-da.
Yeah, we got a front row seat.
Okay, I'm going to pause that. Ba 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 ba. Very interesting. We were just talking about chords because the opening melody of this song, ba da da, is what you would call those notes spell out the 3 notes of a chord, but they are in a different order. They're in what's called an inversion. I'll explain that, but let me figure out what key we're in. Ba da da da. I was close. Okay. C. I'm gonna switch my sound to. I want like a I got my garage band on here. I want a piano sound. I'm just gonna go here. Cancel. I just feel like listening to a piano. So that is an inversion of a chord, of a C major chord. Here we go. Good. I just felt like hearing a piano sound. I don't know why. Ba ba ba. Ba 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 ba. So we're in C major, but it starts on the 3rd. Mi do so. All right, let's listen to some more and I'll figure it out.
We're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet, 'cause the world is but a treat when you're on Easy Street, and we're breaking out the good champagne. We're sitting pretty on the gravy train.
Okay, so ba ba ba. What happens there? Easy Street.
We're on Easy Street, and it feels so sweet, 'cause the world
Da, da, da.
is but a treat
Ah.
when you're on.
When you're on. I'm going to try to just play this real quick for you, this opening little riff. So. Something like that. That's a very catchy little tune. You know, it's kind of neat to hear the questions that you folks have from week to week, because it always seems like there are connections between the questions you bring up and the things I'm talking about in my school classes. So one of the things we've been talking about in my music theory class is how to write good melodies. Actually, I was just talking about this with I had a saxophone student this morning, and we were talking about improvisation, and I was talking about how do you make a jazz improvisation that sounds like that is catchy and sounds melodic. And we talk about writing melodies. One of the biggest things about writing melodies is you want to have a good combination of repetition and new ideas. So if your melody is just nothing but new ideas, the person who's listening is going to kind of be like, huh, and they have nothing to grab onto, right? It's the opposite of a catchy melody. So we talk about a melody that's catchy. A melody that's catchy, if you're writing a song, you're communicating with the person listening by giving them something, an idea, and then not just constantly giving them new things, but do a repeat of what you've done, but maybe change it in some way. So a balance of repetition and new things. So this melody, I mean, right there, did I play it right? Yeah. Right there, you are bum, 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 da, 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 da. In that case, it's a rhythmic repetition that's giving the listener something to hook onto. So really, that's why that melody is so catchy. Okay. But I digress, as they say. Sometimes I talk too much. All right. Let's go. I kind of want to play... okay, Mia, I'm going to do Mia's request. Mia, I'm going to do your request next. Let me see if there's any quick questions. All right, let's do a question, then we'll do Mia's request. So my friend Gabe Bartholomew here says, in music class, we're playing a ton of 6/8 and 2/4 piece. When I count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, I get lost. Okay, here we go. This is a really, I love this question because I talk about this a lot in my band classes. So when you're playing a piece of music, like in band or orchestra, or if you're in choir, sometimes you're counting rests. When you have to count rests, meaning count measures that you don't have any music for, but other people in the ensemble are playing, you have to make sure you count in the right way that matches up with the way the beats are going along in your music. So in other words, if you're in 6/8, if your time signature is 6/8, that means there's 6/8 notes every measure. So when you have rest, you can't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. You can't do that because it doesn't. You're not going to be on track with everyone else. So 6/8 is usually it's the number on top. Let me start over again. The way you interpret a time signature is always like this. The top number tells you how many. The bottom number tells you what kind of note. So 6/8 means there are 6/8 notes in every measure, or the equivalent of that. So it could be 2 dotted quarter notes. The way we count and play 6/8 is most often 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on the speed of the beat. But there's 2 big beats in every measure. So the way you would count that when you have rest is the big beat is bum, bum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's actually 2 big beats in every measure. So you would count rest. You count 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2. So if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, you're probably falling behind. Let me know if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, just let me know if that makes sense for you, Gabe, for your question. Okay, let's go to same thing for 2/4. If you're in 2/4, you count 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2. Let's go to the request I said I was going to play. Michael Bublé, Sway by Michael Bublé. Now, I bet if I go to, let me turn off my technology here. I bet if I go to YouTube, I would bet there is a play-along. Sway, Michael Bublé, and I'm going to say sheet music. This seems to me like I would guarantee there's a version on here. So they have it for, did you request an instrument, Mia? Oh, you did, said sax. So I'm going to play it on alto sax. That's what I have with me. So it looks like, here, I'll show you what I'm looking at. Here's what I'm looking at. So we got this version. This is going to be for piano, so I will look at it. Oh, look at this. Solo alto saxophone sheet music. All right, let's give it a try. Oh, good. See? Whoa. Oh, that's my bad. I just totally read the music wrong. Okay, G natural. I played a G sharp. Let's try this from the top. Here we go. This is for Mia. I'm going to leave this part out. I'll come in at pickups to measure 9. End it right there. So in this case, I was in alto sax. I had 2 sharps, which means I was in D major, or otherwise I was in D minor. This song is in a minor key, so D minor. All right, so let's look at some more questions and comments. That was for Mia. And what do we have next? So I got more requests. Let me go to a question, if I can find one. Zoltan says, thank you, Zoltan. Congrats on my, he had asked about my doctorate, my PhD. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Okay. Zoltan's got a question. I'm 35. I started on alto sax 4 months ago. I'm focusing all my energy on practice with zero knowledge of or on music theory. Do you think someone can become a classy alto player, sax player without theory? Yeah, absolutely you can. I mean, the short answer is you pretty much don't need to know. Okay, so it depends on what you mean by music theory. No, it doesn't. If you practice a ton and you are focused on learning music from tutorials and you're listening to a lot of great saxophone players and you're copying them, you can actually become a really good player literally knowing zero music theory. So there's a couple aspects of learning music theory. The part of music theory that will unlock a lot for you is the part of music theory where you know how to read music. I consider that music theory. So knowing how to read sheet music, that's music theory. You have to know what notation looks like. You have to know what a G is, an A is, a B is. You have to know what a sharp is, what a flat is, a natural sign. You have to know your music terminology, your forte, your piano, your crescendos, your repeat signs, your time signatures, all that stuff. And that's music theory. Now, beyond that, you really don't. I mean, if you understand how chords are formed and you understand what chord progressions are and you understand more about music theory, about how the structures of the music is put together, that helps inform you and make you a better musician, but it's definitely not required. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? Let's see. Thank you, Mike. Kelpie smooth jazz. I think I learned that one time. Some students asked me to do that. Let me answer this question from Morphin, and then I will get back to some more playing. Why is violin considered as the most difficult to learn? Interesting. I guess it is, because people always ask me, what's the hardest instrument to learn? What's the easiest instrument to learn? And my blanket answer to that is always every instrument has its own challenges, and I wouldn't necessarily say that one instrument is easier than another, because whatever is easier about a certain instrument also might bring about other demands that are challenging, but another instrument might not have, if that makes sense. But anyway, violin is probably generally considered one of the more difficult instruments, and some reasons might be here one reason is violin is such a popular instrument all over the world that if you want to be a professional violinist, say you want to be a professional violinist and you actually want to go out and get hired and maybe work in an orchestra or whatever. I should say play in an orchestra, because we play music, right? If you really love music, playing music is not work. But the competition, or I should say the level of performance is so high to get those types of opportunities that you really need to execute on a really high level to play in those ensembles. So that's maybe why people consider violin to be hard. Also because violin is a very soloistic instrument. There's a lot of stuff that's like crazy difficult with your fingers and your bowing. But also you really need to develop your ear for violin, because there are no frets on a violin. A fret is the thing on a guitar, the bar that shows you where your fingers go or separates the neck into sections. Violin is completely smooth, just like a cello or a bass, stand-up bass, and a viola. But so you really have to know your finger placement and use your ear. There's a semi-quick answer to that. All right, let's go to Kelpie Smooth Jazz on clarinet. All right, let me look at this up. Kelpie Smooth Jazz on clarinet. Kelpie G Smooth Jazz for 1 hour. Let's listen. I did. I don't know why this makes me laugh. It just does. Okay, I'm gonna. There's several different phrases happening there, so I'm just gonna do this main one. Ba da ba da ba ba, boo da 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 da. I think that's what it was. Okay. 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 So we're in a B flat. We're in concert A flat major. We're in a B flat major pentatonic scale, basically. When he gets up there, it's G to B flat. But this little melody, da 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 da, D F F D F G C D C, D F F D F D G, something like that. All right, let me try this. That's different. E flat. Oh, that's fun. Man, I should do a tutorial on that song. Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, 3:38. Mike says when you get to the part it start, it repeats and repeats. Oh, okay, the song that I played for Mike earlier. Okay, Snow Jack. Since you're on the flute, was I on flute? All right, here it is. Do I have any techniques on how to sustain a high note? Because I struggle to maintain a high note. Yes. Here we go. When I learned how to do this, it really helped me with my flute high notes. Think of your lips when you play the flute. This little hole in the center of your lips is called the aperture. Do you know what else has an aperture? A camera, right? A video camera or a regular digital camera or whatever. So, a photography camera. So the aperture is the opening. So just like the aperture of a camera determines how much light gets in to the camera, to the image, the aperture of your lips determines how much air gets out when you're blowing your air. So, and also the placement of your aperture. So for low notes, our aperture is going to be slightly more open, although a big problem with developing flute players is their aperture is way too wide, and so they get that airy sound. And you use all your air very quickly, and you get lightheaded. That's why. So we want to focus the aperture, so it's a pure focus sound. The little sort of edge to it. I like a little edge to the sound. Hear that? It's like right on the edge. Then, to get the high note, it's two things. Your aperture gets a little bit smaller, like you're focusing the camera lens, and the lips go just the tiniest bit away from your face. And what it's like saying here and then ooh. Your lips physically go forward away from your face just a little bit. What that does, if we imagine that this is your aperture, this end of this mouthpiece. Let me go where my overhead. Here's overhead. See if I can do this. Okay. So let's say your aperture is here for a low note. If you go ooh, your aperture goes a little bit out like this. Watch. See, it got closer to the outer edge of the aperture hole. So in, low note, high note, low note, high note, low note, high note. And you do that by just pushing your lips out like ooh. When you do that enough, it flips the overtone to the high note. And if you do that, you can even play it quietly, and it's okay because the placement of your aperture is correct. I get louder when I sort of widen my aperture a little bit and let the air flow more. And my note stays high, even when I'm doing louder notes or softer notes. So let me know if that helps you. When I learned that, I started doing my flute. I would do octaves all the way to the range of the flute, to the highest note I could play. And then when you get to the high note, practice playing it not just loudly, but also quietly, because then you know the high note is happening because of the placement of your lips, and not just because a lot of developing players try to get high notes by just kind of punching the air harder, and it kind of works, but it's not sustainable because you don't have control over it. Does that make sense? Okay. Some music theory. Okay, so this is from Joelee. Some music theory will make your journey on sax easier. Yes, definitely. I agree. It can make things a lot. It will make things easier, but it's not required. I would say if you're thinking about it as a requirement. Good. I'm glad that my answer made sense on that. Shrexophone. I don't know what that is. Anybody know what a shrexophone is? Kelpie G. Done. I know I still have some requests that I haven't gotten to. Maybe I'll go back and do that. How to do slap tonguing? Yes. Well, yes and no, because I know like theoretically what it is, but I actually never do it, and I don't know if I'm really capable. Like, I've never really tried it that much. It's what do they call that, extended technique. It's a thing that you will not encounter in 99% of music, but if you're playing a lot of either funky, modern, sort of rock and roll saxophone, you could do it. But you also see it in the classical repertoire in experimental type music, where they're really trying to get, the composer is trying to get different sounds out of the saxophone. So I think that's it. You could probably like YouTube this and find someone who can teach this. What I would do if I saw slap tongue, it's like your tongue is like, I like put my tongue flat on the reed and I kind of like do that. Like I'm kind of tonguing, I'm like kind of doing my whole tongue on the reed and kind of slapping. I'm not like, you hear slap tongue and you think you're going to slap the reed with your tongue. And it's more like it's on and slaps off. I don't know. I should probably just say I don't know how to do it. YouTube it. Let me know what you find out. I think I'm probably close though. What is the most sharps and flats that can be in any one single key signature? Okay. The answer is 7. So real quick, although I mean theoretically it could be more, but check this out. Here is a C. Let's take the scale that has 0 sharps and flats. That's a C major scale, all the white keys. Okay. Now, a scale is a pattern of relationships between the notes. So a scale, the pattern of a major scale needs to be this formula. Whatever note you start on, there has to be a whole step, a half step, a whole step, whole, and ends with a half. So there's our C major scale. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So whatever note we choose to play, we have to maintain those relationships. So, I don't know, E flat major scale. Whole step, half step, whole, whole, half. There's an E flat major scale. Now what's cool is you got a C major scale, no sharps and flats. If we make a C sharp major scale, everything goes up a half step. So that means we go from none of these notes are sharped to every single one being sharped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sharp, 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 sharp. And you're back where you started. Now, that can be, depending on your level of experience with sharps and flats, that might have been super confusing. Maybe it was a little bit helpful. But the short answer is 7 sharps and 7 flats is the most you will see in a key signature. Theoretically, there could be more, but it's not practical. Is it possible to play chords on the flute? Allie, I'm thinking about the answer on this. So what we do on an instrument that is a instruments that can play chords are instruments that can play one note, more than one note at a time. Piano, guitar, a bass, any string instrument can do it, right? Because even violinists can do double stops, which means you put your bow in such a way that you're playing 2 notes at once, even 3 notes at once. What else? Who else can do that? Harp. If I'm missing any, let me know. Single note instruments, like all of the wind instruments pretty much. Again, correct me if I'm missing something, but yeah, flute, clarinet, sax, trumpet, trombone. For practical reasons, you can only play 1 note at a time. For all practical purposes, right? What we do is we outline the notes of the chord, and those are called arpeggios. So we can't play, but we can play. That's an arpeggio. That's doing the notes of the chord outlined one at a time. You can really work on your overtones. And this is a whole other topic, but it doesn't sound as clean or as easy to do as on a piano, but you can play more than one note at once with overtones. I'm going to try this. Let's see. So I was kind of getting a low C and a high C at the same time with the overtone series. Anyway, I could do it better on saxophone, but it's not really practical. Like, you can't play any chord you want, but you can play more than one note at once. Guys, are my answers too long on these questions? Let me know. Sometimes I feel like I talk too much. All right. House of Memories. I don't know that song. Let me see what requests I can get to before the end of this. I have a couple more minutes. Thanks, David. I appreciate that. Snowjack said it works. Like my flute info. That's awesome. I like Leonardo. Always have these very specific requests. A D flat minor scale on flute above the music staff. Okay. I am going to admit, let me see. My super high range on flute is not completely is not as developed as I'd like it to be. I can play D flat. All right. I'll play up to an A flat. So D flat minor would be, I'll do that up high. So it'd be D flat, E flat. Let me not blast out the sound here. D flat, E flat, E, or F flat. Oh boy, what happened next? Oh, G flat. And then A flat. There it is. Wow. So to play the full, where my eyebrow's going way up high too, to play the full D flat minor scale, I would need to know my high B flat and high B flat, C flat, and D flat, which I don't know right off the top of my head, but E flat. Is E flat the same as D sharp? Yes, E flat is the same as D sharp. Same exact sound. I think we talked about this last week, why the flat and sharp notes all have two identities or two names. They're sort of like dual, they're like, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, or, a secret spy. You've got a G flat, could also be called an F sharp, depending on what your musical context is. Gabby. Hi, Gabby. What about the trumpet? I've got a trumpet right here. I am not a professional trumpet player. I would consider myself a working professional on clarinet, flute, and sax. I play brass instruments well enough to teach my students, but I don't do a ton of tutorials on them because I'm not I'm not an advanced player. But if you have a question, I can probably answer it. Link, have I ever heard of the SciTech band? I have not heard of the SciTech band. Is that, tell me more about that. I'm curious. Allie, what's the lowest, speaking of me not knowing my high notes on the flute, what's the lowest and highest notes on the flute? Okay, so the lowest note is easy, meaning it's very defined. The lowest note on the flute is when you cover up all the holes and you cover up all of these buttons. You have this low C here on most student flutes, and then most professional flutes, you have something called a B foot, which means this bottom part, the foot, is a little longer and it has an extra key. So whenever you make a vibrating column of air longer, the note goes lower. So you got a low C, add that, you got a low B. So that's my lowest note. There's my low B. Now, what's the highest note is a little bit of a trickier answer because of the overtone series and altissimo range, for pretty much woodwinds and brass, the highest note is kind of undefined because it depends on how advanced your embouchure is and how creative how much you've worked on working out your altissimo fingerings. I will say on flute, the highest note that you will find in most high school literature is going to top out at around a high C, an octave above. So you got two ledger lines above the staff, which is this, and then an octave above that. Okay? maybe another request or two. Okay. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to play Careless Whisper for Allie. Thanks for the reminder. Guys, by the way, I'm pretty sure we have Teresa here in the chat on our management team, and I don't know if Joe is here. Dennis could not be here today. He's got a family party to go to, so I hope he's having a good time. So, Careless Whisper. You guys know the same story I always tell about this song, but getting good at remembering pitches and notes. Over time, I discovered that I know I don't have perfect pitch or absolute pitch, it's called, but I can always remember the sound of an alto saxophone playing a high C sharp. It's the first note of Careless Whisper. I just played it, but even if I hadn't just played it on the piano, it's ba or ba. I could just picture the sound of a saxophone up there. Right? So, here we go. I'm just going to play it. I'll put some echo. Here we go. Careless Whisper, and that's the whoops, turn my reverb off. That's the sax solo melody. Okay, Mr. Rogers' theme song. Let's see. Leonardo had another question. Does E flat have a half step between D flat and F flat on flute? All right, so D flat to E flat is a whole step, and then E flat to F flat is a half step. Here it is. D flat, whoops, D flat, E flat, whole step, E flat to F flat. So this is where it's a little bit tricky because F flat is the same as E, F flat. So whole step, half step. Okay. Mr. Rogers. Let me look this up. Mr. Rogers theme. You know, one of my friends, one of my fellow music teachers once called me the Mr. Rogers of band lessons on YouTube. I would take pride in if anyone compared me to Mr. Rogers, because I'm a big fan. When I was a kid, I watched Mr. Rogers a lot. Very big part of my childhood. Let's see what key this is in. Here we go.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
I'll see what.
I have always wanted to have a neighbor
Just like you. Oops.
I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood
Huh.
with you, so let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, might as well say, would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor?
Okay.
Won't you?
So, here's what we have. We have I'm not sure about that ending part there. A little chromatic there is so on clarinet, if I was to play that, it's in C major on the piano. I'd have to be in one whole step higher, D major. Mi, fa, so, da, 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 da. So I have to go. There you go. Believe it or not, being such a loving Mr. Rogers so much as I do, I've never figured out that song before. I don't think I have. Okay, folks. Someone requested the final countdown, and it is the final countdown because it is time to go. 4 o'clock. So, as I prepare to wrap up here, and I apologize if I didn't get to your request, but please come back again with more requests. And if you want to get a little shout out or a hello, I would be happy to do that before we go. Let me turn on my comments here again. And also, let me ask you to, please, if you haven't yet, please give a like to this live stream video and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Let your friends know. We're trying to get to 300K. We're at 267. So it could take a while, but we'll see what happens. So a few more hellos and shout outs. I'm happy to do that, or really, really quick questions. But other than that, it is time to go. So Allie, bye Allie. Thanks for being here. Thank you to Mike. Thanks, Mike. What's my absolute favorite instrument to play and why? Oh, okay. Next week I'll have to think about what my favorite song is, Mike, but I would say probably alto saxophone or tenor sax are my favorite. Okay? Thank you, Leonardo. I appreciate your comments and your questions. Thank you, Allie. I appreciate it. Thank you, Leonardo, for being here. Thank you, Chris, for being here. Chris Haggerty. Morphin, thank you so much. Great requests, everybody. Mike, glissando, I missed that. I was going to answer that. Glissando, we can talk about it next week if you remind me. It's when you have your target note up here, and you just kind of go do a flurry of notes in a scale up to the high note. And we could talk about how to do that. Mia, thank you for being here. Gabby. Oh, hey, Gabby. Sorry, I missed your question. I hope you're still here. Wondering if I did different instruments on YouTube. Yeah, if you have a trumpet request, let me know, okay? All right, folks, that's going to be about it for today. Thank you, Zoltan. Thank you, David. Thank you, John. When I finish the live stream, you guys are going to see this screen, and that's going to, that's going to be, how you can follow me. Although I have a whole story about my Facebook account. I'm having issues with my Facebook account, but I am on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. So, guys, thank you so much, Leonardo, Morphin, John, everyone who's checking in, and thanks to Teresa and Joe. And to Dennis, who couldn't be here this week. We look forward to seeing him next week. Okay, guys. Mason, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't get to everyone's request. We ran out of time. But please come in again, and I'll try to get to more requests. Okay? Thanks, folks. Until next time, have fun and go practice. Bye-bye.